The cheap pizza box was still warm against my palms, and I heard my own name whispered like a punchline. So I stayed quiet and smiled anyway. My name is Rhiannon. I'm 28, and I work as a delivery driver while I finish school. That night was supposed to be easy. A hot tub warming at my friend's place. You know the kind of potluck where everyone brings something cute and Pinteresty? Crockpots lined up like trophies, casserole dishes wrapped in towels, fancy charcuterie boards that look like someone staged them for a magazine. In our little church friend group, potlucks are basically a love language. Usually, I'm the one who brings the real food. I'm not a professional chef, but I can throw down. People have asked for my recipes. People have texted me, please bring your chicken again, like it's a holiday tradition. So when my friend asked me to bring an entree, I said yes without thinking. But my weekend went sideways. Double shifts. A flat tire. A last-minute delivery run that turned into a weird, uncomfortable situation with a neighbor in my apartment complex, the kind that sits in your stomach and won't leave. By the time I realized I was going to be late, I was already sweating in my car, staring at the clock, and doing the math of what I could realistically pull off. I pulled into that national chain, grabbed 3 of those cheap pizzas, and told myself it's fine. It's food. People eat pizza. People love pizza. I even tried to make it sound cute in my head. Tiny Roman guy's pizza. A little silly. A little nostalgic. When I walked in, the host smiled bright. The hot tub was steaming in the backyard like a luxury ad. The house smelled like candles and garlic bread. Everyone had already started arranging food like it was an art exhibit. I put my pizzas down, still in the boxes, and suddenly my offering looked loud, not just cheap. Loud. Someone's husband had brought smoked brisket in a foil pan. Someone else had homemade enchiladas with fresh salsa. My friend's sister had a tray of lemon herb salmon that looked like it belonged in a restaurant. And there I was with 3 boxes that screamed, I gave up. The host didn't say anything. Nobody did. Everyone kept smiling and talking, and I thought, okay, I'm safe. But then I went to the bathroom, and when I came back, one of the girls leaned toward me with a sympathetic little tilt of her head, like she was about to tell me my mascara was running. Hey, she murmured, I just wanted to give you a heads up. My chest tightened. About what? She glanced toward the back door, toward the hot tub laughter. They were kind of roasting you out there. I blinked. Roasting me? She nodded like she didn't even want to repeat it. They were joking, but still. They said it's terrible pizza for teens, and we're too old to eat like that. I felt my face go hot, seriously. And someone called it like an affront to pizza itself. She winced. Cursed flatbread. I stared at her, frozen with a polite smile glued to my lips like a mask I couldn't peel off. I wanted to laugh. I wanted to say, oh my gosh, that's hilarious. But my stomach sank because I knew what that meant in our group. Nobody says anything to your face. They just say it where it won't cause conflict. They keep it sweet, clean, godly, and somehow that makes it sharper. I walked outside like everything was normal. The hot tub was full, the string lights were glowing, and the laughter sounded different now, like I could hear the shape of it. I slid into the water, shoulders tight, trying to act relaxed. The host's husband handed me a plastic cup and said, glad you made it, like nothing had happened. My friend, my actual friend, looked at me and smiled, but her eyes flicked away too quickly, like she didn't want to meet mine for too long. I told myself I was being dramatic. I told myself it was fine. Half the pizza was gone already. Clearly people were eating it, but my brain wouldn't let it go, because I'd heard that tone before. It was the same tone I heard 2 nights earlier, standing in the hallway of my apartment complex with a delivery bag in my hand, trying not to shake. There's a blind guy in my complex who orders sometimes. The first time I delivered to him, he'd pressured me to step into his apartment to help him find his money. I did it. I hated that I did it. I remember clutching my phone like it was a weapon, hearing my own heartbeat in my ears, and thinking, this is how bad stories start. So the second time he ordered, I told my manager ahead of time, if he asked me to come inside again, I'm not doing it. My manager told me, tell him no. Safety issue. Don't argue. But he did argue. He kept insisting, come in, close the door, you'll freeze. Even though the outside door was already shut and he had the cash in his hand. He kept stepping back like he was making room for me. When I said no, he got offended. He actually said, you're making me uncomfortable by saying you're uncomfortable. Then he laughed like I was being ridiculous and added, everyone else comes inside. One guy even went all the way into my bedroom. I remember standing there in the hallway, my skin prickling, thinking, why would you tell me that? Why would you want me to picture that? When I held my ground, he didn't tip me. And I wasn't mad about the money. I was mad because it felt like punishment, like he was training me to obey. I reported it to my manager. Quietly, calmly, no drama, just facts. And now sitting in that hot tub, hearing people laugh while my name floated around like a joke, I realized something that made my throat go tight. This group wasn't cruel in a loud way. They were cruel in a smile to your face way. The kind that makes you doubt yourself. The kind that makes you wonder if you're too sensitive or if you're finally seeing clearly. Someone bumped my knee underwater and said, you okay? You're quiet. I forced a laugh. Just tired. My friend's husband joked, pizza put you in a food coma? A couple people chuckled. It sounded harmless. It even looked harmless. But my friend didn't laugh. She just stared at the water like she was thinking about something else. Then, as if the universe wanted to twist the knife, my phone buzzed in my towel pocket on the chair beside the tub. A notification. A group chat notification. I didn't open it right away. I tried not to. I told myself, don't be paranoid. But when I finally got out of the hot tub and checked my phone, I saw the name of our main friend group chat. And right beneath it, another chat with almost the same name. Same words, same vibe. Just a tiny emoji at the end. My fingers went cold. At first I told myself it was nothing. Maybe it was for planning surprises. Maybe it was for something innocent. But my brain replayed the cursed flatbread comment like it had claws. I went back inside for water, trying to keep my face neutral, trying to keep my breathing normal. One of the girls had left her phone on the kitchen counter, charging. It lit up with a notification from that same chat name, the one with the tiny emoji. And I saw my own name, not fully, just the first few letters. That's the moment my body did that weird thing where your skin goes hot, but your hands hands go numb, like your nervous system can't pick a lane. I didn't touch her phone. I didn't pick it up. I just stood there, staring at the screen like it was a window into a room I wasn't allowed in. Then I looked around the kitchen. Everyone laughing outside. Everyone comfortable. Everyone normal. And I suddenly felt like the only person who didn't know the script. I walked back to the bathroom, locked the door, and stared at myself in the mirror. My hair was damp. My cheeks were pink from the hot tub. I looked fine, but my eyes didn't. I whispered to myself, don't cry. Don't be dramatic. Don't give them that. And then, in that quiet bathroom, I made a decision. If they wanted to talk about me in secret, I wasn't going to beg for a seat at their table. I wasn't going to explode. I wasn't going to confront them in the kitchen and turn myself into the too sensitive stereotype. I was going to stay calm, and I was going to get proof, because I'm done being the person who feels crazy just because other people are better at hiding their cruelty. I dried my hands slowly, smoothed my sweater, practiced my smile. Then I walked back outside, sat near the edge of the hot tub, and said lightly, hey, can someone add me to that new group chat? The one with the little emoji? I keep seeing notifications pop up. The laughter didn't stop, but the sound changed, just for a second, like a record skipping. And my friend's face went so still, it was like I'd slapped her without moving a finger. Quick real-life pause. Some nights I'm editing and I want to quit, but then I see your comments and I keep going. Like, subscribe, and tell me your city, state, or country. All right, back to the story. She blinked at me and forced a laugh that didn't reach her eyes. What group chat? I tilted my head, sweet as sugar. The one with the same name as ours, just with an emoji at the end. A beat of silence. Then another girl jumped in too fast. Oh, that's just for planning stuff, like surprises. Really? I smiled wider. Cool, add me. I love surprises. My friend's husband cleared his throat. Someone splashed water like they suddenly found the tub very interesting. My friend finally spoke, voice light, too light. We can talk about it later. I nodded. Sure. And I meant it, because I wasn't going to argue in front of everyone. I was going to let them believe they talked their way out of it. I was going to let them get comfortable again. And then I was going to do what I do best. Deliver something. Quietly. Right to the right person. I stayed in the hot tub a little longer, smiling like I had nothing to prove. Inside, though, I felt my ribs tighten around my lungs. Not panic. Not tears. Just that cold, focused feeling you get when you realize you've been walking around with spinach in your teeth and everyone let you do it. They tried to recover fast. Someone made a joke about the water being too hot. Someone asked about a new workout plan. Someone brought up a baby shower prank story from another church group like it was harmless fun. But my friend kept avoiding my eyes. When the night finally started winding down, I helped clean up like I always do. I folded napkins. I stacked plates. I scraped leftover food into containers. I did it calmly, deliberately, like I hadn't just learned I might be the punchline of an entire second conversation. The cheap pizza boxes were half empty. Half a pizza left, just like I'd thought. People ate it. They always do. The public face says one thing. The private voice says another. In the kitchen, the girl who warned me earlier hovered near the sink. She kept glancing toward the back door like she was afraid someone would walk in on us. I didn't press her right away. I rinsed dishes, kept my tone normal. Then I said softly, thank you for telling me. She swallowed. I didn't want you blindsided. I appreciate it, I said, and I meant it. Can I ask you something, though? Her shoulders tensed. Yeah. Why didn't anyone just say it to my face? I asked, still gentle. If it bothered them that much? Her lips parted, then closed. It's not about the pizza, she admitted, almost whispering. It's been building. That sentence hit me harder than the hot tub roast. Building? I repeated. She looked like she wanted to vanish into the dish soap bubbles. They've been saying you're prickly lately. Like you take things personally. I kept my face calm. Prickly. She nodded. I don't think you are. I hear things. I dried my hands on a towel. Slow, steady. Do you hear things about anyone else? Her eyes flicked up. Not like this. There it was. That sick confirmation. Not a one-time joke. A pattern? Okay, I said quietly. Do you know why they started saying it? She hesitated, and I could see the tug of war inside her. Loyalty, fear, guilt. Then she said, you know the delivery job you have? Some of them think it's risky. I blinked. Risky? She nodded again miserably. They think you meet weird people. They think it's sketchy. My mouth went dry. That was not what I expected. I thought the worst would be that they looked down on me for bringing cheap food, or that they thought I wasn't putting in effort. But this was different. This was moral judgment dressed up as concern. And who exactly is saying that? I asked. She bit her lip. Your friend's husband said something like, I don't want strangers knowing where our wives live. I stared at her. I've delivered food for years. I don't invite customers to our events. I know, she whispered. I know, it's not fair. My skin prickled because suddenly the blind neighbor flashed in my head. The way he kept pushing, the way he tried to guilt me, the way he said everyone else complied. What else? I asked. What other concerns? She looked away. They said you were overreacting about that guy in your building. My chest tightened. Do you know about that? Her face crumpled. I didn't at first, but someone told them. And then they started joking that you're always making everything unsafe. Like you're dramatic. I didn't say anything for a moment because the anger that rose up in me was sharp and clean, not explosive, not messy. It felt like a blade sliding out of its sheath. So the boundary I held became evidence that I was the problem. Of course it did. I exhaled slowly. Who told them about him? She didn't answer right away. I waited. She finally said, your friend. My ears rang for a second like I'd been slapped underwater. My friend told them, I repeated carefully. She mentioned it in the secret chat, the girl admitted. Not like she was trying to hurt you. More like, Rhiannon got weird with a blind neighbor. Can you believe it? My hands went cold. I thought about my friend's still face when I mentioned the emoji chat. I thought about the way she said, we can talk about it later. Like she could decide when my reality was allowed. I kept my voice low. Did she say my name? The girl nodded. Yeah. I swallowed hard because now the potluck made sense. The pizza wasn't the crime. It was just the easiest thing to publicly judge without sounding cruel. It was safe to mock a pizza box. It wasn't safe to mock a woman who said no. I did not cry. I didn't give my body ready that release. I just felt the humiliation settle into something colder, something steadier. Can you show me? I asked. Her eyes widened. Show you what? The messages, I said. If you saw them. She shook her head quickly. I'm not in that chat. I only heard about it. I nodded like that was fine, even though disappointment sparked in my ribs. Then I said very calmly, do you know anyone in that chat who's careless? She frowned. Careless? Someone who would accidentally show me, I clarified. Or someone who doesn't think before they talk. Her face shifted with understanding, and that alone told me everything. There's one, she said quietly. She talks too much when she drinks. My friend's husband started calling from the living room, asking if anyone had seen the foil for leftovers. The normal noise of the party surged around us again. The girl leaned in. Please don't say I told you, she whispered. I have to see these people every Sunday. I held her gaze. I won't, and I meant it, because I wasn't going to blow this up with a screaming confrontation. I was going to let them hang themselves with their own words. On the drive home, I didn't play music. I drove with both hands on the wheel, breathing slow. My phone sat face down in the cup holder like it was too heavy to look at. I kept thinking about how my friend told them about the neighbor. I told her that story in confidence, late at night, in my kitchen. When I said, it made me uncomfortable, I remember her shaking her head and saying, that's so gross. She'd looked supportive. And then she'd taken it into a private chat without me, like a party favor. When I got back to my apartment, I parked under the dim lights and sat there for a second, watching my own breath fog the windshield. I thought about reporting the neighbor to the apartment manager. I thought about what retaliation looks like when someone feels entitled to your compliance. Then I thought about my church friends, smiling in my face while labeling me dramatic behind my back. Different setting, same entitlement. I went upstairs, locked my door, and opened my phone. In the main group chat, there were already messages, photos from the night. Someone wrote, such a fun time, with a bunch of hearts. Someone else wrote, we have to do this again soon. I stared at the screen and felt something in me go quiet. I typed one message in the main chat, just one. Had fun tonight. Hey, someone mentioned there's another group chat for planning surprises. Can someone add me so I don't miss anything? I didn't add emojis. I didn't add a smiley face. I kept it polite, normal, almost boring. Then I put my phone down and went to take a shower. I let the hot water run over my shoulders until my skin turned pink. I tried to wash the night off. The laughter, the sting, the way my friend's eyes slid away. When I got out, my phone was buzzing. Not the main chat. A private message from my friend. It was one sentence. Hey, can we talk tomorrow? No explanation. No, sure? No, of course. Just that. I stared at the message and my thumb hovered over the keyboard. I could have written why. I could have written about what. Instead, I wrote, sure. Then I went to bed and didn't sleep. The next morning, she called me early, voice bright like she was trying to outrun the awkwardness. Hey, she said, are you okay? I almost laughed. It was such a perfect question because it sounds like care, but it's also a test. Are you going to be easy today? Are you going to let me off the hook? I'm fine, I said. Neutral. She exhaled. Okay, good. So, about last night. I waited. She rushed on. I think there was a misunderstanding. That other chat is just for planning things, like surprises, and it started a while ago. It's not personal. Not personal. Even though my name was in it. Even though my delivery job was in it. Even though my boundary was in it. I kept my tone soft. Then add me. A pause. It's not really active. I smiled even though she couldn't see it. If it's not active, it won't matter. Another pause. Longer this time. I just don't want drama. There it was. The word people use when they mean, I want you to swallow the hurt quietly so I can stay comfortable. I spoke gently like I was agreeing with her. Me neither. I heard her relax. And that was the moment I knew she thought she'd won. I said, I don't want drama, so I'm going to handle this the mature way. Can you just send me a screenshot of the chat name and who's in it? That way I know what people are talking about when they mention it. Silence. Then she laughed too loudly. Why would you need that? So I don't miss surprises, I repeated sweetly. And so I don't accidentally plan something twice. She didn't answer right away. I could almost hear her brain spinning, looking for an exit that wouldn't make her look guilty. Finally, she said, I'll see. I kept my voice calm. Great, thanks. We hung up. 5 minutes later, my phone buzzed again. A screenshot came through, and my stomach dropped. Because she wasn't careful. She'd cropped it wrong. At the bottom edge of the screenshot, I could see the most recent message preview. It was my name, followed by a sentence that made my blood run cold. It said I was unsafe to have around kids. My throat went dry so fast it felt like my tongue stuck to the roof of my mouth. Unsafe to have around kids. I sat on the edge of my bed with my towel still damp from my shower, staring at that tiny strip of text like it was a venomous insect. The words weren't even written dramatically. No all caps, no emojis. Just a casual little knife. I zoomed in. My hands didn't shake, which surprised me. My body went eerily calm, like it had decided panic was a waste of energy. I took a screenshot of her screenshot, then another. Then I hit record and screen recorded the entire message thread. Her sending it to timestamp the way it landed in my inbox because I've learned the hard way that people love to pretend. Things never happen once they realize there are consequences. I didn't reply right away. I just sat there and let the truth settle. They weren't simply mocking cheap pizza. They were building a story about me. A story where I'm too sensitive. A story where my boundaries are drama. A story where my job makes me dirty. A story where a stranger pushing me into an apartment becomes proof that I'm unstable because I didn't smile and comply. And the part that made me feel sick wasn't even the cruelty. It was the strategy. If you label someone unsafe, you don't have to feel bad excluding them. You don't have to feel bad lying about them. You don't have to feel bad whispering around them like they're a hazard. I stared at the screenshot again and thought about church, how we talk about community, how we talk about women supporting women, how we pray for each other and bring casseroles to new moms and post Bible verses about kindness. And then we create secret rooms where we decide who deserves a seat at the table. My phone buzzed. A new message from my friend. Oops, ignore that. I cropped it wrong, lol. I read it twice. There it was. The scramble. The attempt to turn it into nothing. Like a stain you wipe with a napkin and pretend never existed. I still didn't respond. Instead, I opened my notes app and wrote down a clean timeline. Dates and words, not numbers. What happened. What I said. What she said. What I saw. Then I pulled up the email thread from my job. The safety guideline my manager had sent us after a driver got followed to their car months ago. It wasn't dramatic. It was standard. Do not enter customer residences. Maintain boundary at the doorway. If you feel pressured, leave in contact management. I took screenshots of that too. Not because I needed to defend myself to strangers, because I knew what would happen next. When people get caught, they don't apologize first. They rewrite history first. My friend called again. I let it go to voicemail. Then another call. I let it ring. Then a text. Can you please answer? I'm freaking out. Freaking out. Not because she hurt me. Because she realized she accidentally handed me proof. I waited until my heartbeat felt normal again. Then I typed one sentence. I saw it. She replied instantly. It's not what it looks like. That line, right there, is how you know it's exactly what it looks like. I didn't argue. I didn't ask why. I didn't accuse. I just said, okay. A minute later, she sent a long paragraph about how someone else wrote it, how it was taken out of context, how she didn't mean it like that, how the group was just venting, how she didn't want drama, how I always assume the worst. I read it once, then set my phone down. I kept hearing the blind neighbor's voice in my head. You're making me uncomfortable by saying you're uncomfortable. It's the same sentence, just dressed differently. Don't make me feel bad for crossing your boundary. Don't force me to see myself clearly. I stood up and paced my apartment, stepping around moving boxes and laundry baskets. Everything in my life felt temporary lately, like I was always halfway through something, half moved in, half grown up, half accepted. Then I stopped pacing because I realized something. I wasn't half anything. They were half kind, half honest, half brave. I opened the main group chat and scrolled through the cheerful photos from last night. Smiling faces, warm lights, a caption about how community is everything. I almost laughed. I didn't type in the main chat. Not yet. I wanted them comfortable. So instead, I sent a private message to the girl who'd warned me in the kitchen. Hey, thank you again. I'm not going to put you in the middle. Just wanted you to know I'm handling it quietly. She replied with a single heart, and I'm sorry. That sorry mattered more than all the church hugs in the world. Then I called my manager. Not because I needed permission. Because I needed a paper trail. I told her calmly, the blind customer in my complex pressured me again. I refused to go inside. He argued and tried to guilt me. I'm requesting that I not be assigned to his deliveries anymore. If it happens again, I will refuse the order. My manager didn't hesitate. Done. I'll flag the address. If he complains, I'll handle it. I thanked her and hung up. Then I called the apartment office. I didn't say the word creep. I didn't say predator. I didn't exaggerate. I didn't even mention tips. I said, a resident has repeatedly attempted to pressure me into entering his unit while I am working. I have refused. He argues and tries to guilt me. I'm making a safety report in case this escalates. The woman on the phone sounded immediately serious. Do you feel unsafe? I felt pressured, I said carefully, and I want it documented. Thank you for reporting, she said. We will note this and follow up. When I hung up, I felt something settle in me. That's what quiet power feels like. No shouting, no begging, just the right information placed in the right hands. Then I did the last thing, the thing that made my stomach flutter, not from fear, but from the weight of consequence. I emailed our church's women's ministry coordinator, not a mass message, not a public post, a private email. I kept it short and clean. I wrote that I'd become aware of a private group chat within our circle that had escalated into labeling me unsafe around kids based solely on my job and a safety boundary I'd set with a stranger who pressured me to enter his home. I wrote that I had screenshots and timestamps. I wrote that I wasn't asking for punishment, but I was requesting guidance because false labels like that can damage reputations in a community built on trust. Then I attached the proof. Not all of it, just enough. Because I didn't want to scorch the earth. I wanted the truth to breathe in daylight. I hit send. My phone rang within an hour. Not my friend, the coordinator. Her voice was quiet and firm. Rhiannon, thank you for telling me. I'm very sorry. This is serious. I stared out my window at the parking lot, people carrying groceries, living normal lives. I didn't want drama, I said. I understand, she replied. This isn't drama. This is character assassination. Character assassination. Those words made my eyes sting because it was the first time someone named it correctly instead of calling me sensitive. She asked if I'd be willing to meet with her and one other leader. Privately, just to confirm details, I agreed. After we hung up, my friend started blowing up my phone again. Call after call. Text after text. Please, can we talk? I didn't mean it. Why are you doing this? That last one almost made me laugh again. Why am I doing this? As if I'm the one who created the secret chat. As if I'm the one who typed unsafe around kids. As if I'm the one who smiled in someone's face while sharpening the rumor. I didn't reply. I let her panic. Because when people are used to controlling the narrative, silence terrifies them. That evening, the main group chat suddenly went quiet. No memes, no updates, no how's everyone's week chatter. Then, like a delayed thunderclap, a message popped up from someone I barely spoke to. Hey, are you okay? Another message. Can we talk? Then one more from the host. I heard there was a misunderstanding. I'm so sorry. I didn't know. misunderstanding. That word again. Trying to shrink the truth into something manageable. I typed a single reply to the host. I'm okay. I have proof. I'm handling it privately. No anger, no lecture, just boundaries in sentence form. The next Sunday at church, I walked in with my head up. My stomach churned anyway because I'm still human, and betrayal doesn't evaporate just because you're composed. People smiled too hard. People hugged too long. People avoided me like I was contagious. My friend wasn't there. I found out later she'd told someone she couldn't handle the anxiety. Of course, because in her version, I'm the storm she has to survive, not the person she stabbed. After service, the women's ministry coordinator asked me to step into a small office for a private chat. Another leader was there too. Someone older, someone respected, someone who doesn't play games. They didn't ask me if I was sure. They didn't ask me what I did to provoke it. They asked, do you want an apology or do you want distance? I thought about that question on the drive home. Apologies are easy when they're forced. Distance is harder. Distance is real. So I answered honestly, I want distance, I said, and I want my name cleared. They nodded, and the older leader said, it will be. And then quietly, without fanfare, our church rolled out a new guideline for volunteer groups and childcare teams about gossip, private chats, and labeling people without evidence. They didn't mention my name. They didn't point fingers publicly, but everyone knew because the women who'd laughed at my pizza suddenly stopped laughing at anyone. And the girl who'd warned me in the kitchen caught my eye across the room one day and gave me the smallest nod, like she was saying, you did it the right way. 2 weeks later, my friend finally showed up at my door. I didn't invite her in. I stood in my hallway with the chain lock on, and I watched her flinch at it like she'd never considered what safety actually looks like. Her eyes were swollen. I'm sorry, she said, voice trembling. I never thought it would go this far. I kept my face calm. It went exactly as far as you pushed it, she swallowed. They were pressuring me in that chat too. I didn't want to be left out, so I just went along. That confession was almost worse, so it wasn't only cruelty, it was cowardice. She stepped closer like she wanted to reach for my hand. Can we fix it? I looked at her and I felt sad, genuinely sad, for the version of me that used to confuse comfort with loyalty. No, I said softly. You already fixed it for me. Her brow furrowed. What do you mean? I smiled, small and steady. I mean, I finally know who you are when you think I can't hear you. She stood there like she wanted to argue, but there was nothing left to say. Because the proof did what proof always does. It ends the performance. She left without screaming, without a scene, just the sound of her footsteps fading down the hallway. That night, I opened my fridge and saw the leftover pizza slice I'd brought home in a foil-wrapped container. Cold, sad, slightly greasy. I laughed for real this time, alone in my kitchen, not because it was funny, because it was perfect. They tried to shame me with cheap pizza, but the only thing that ended up getting exposed was the rot in the people pretending to be holy.